Hello everyone, this is a hands-on activity on the chapter 4, which is the visual elements. So this week, instead of the lecture, I feel like this would be a great time to have our first hands-on activity. So if you take a look at your Moodle page, there should be four files that PDF files that you can download and print. So which is going to be this line drawing here, and also the value scale, another value scale, and this guy right here. So let's take a look at one by one. So print them out. If you don't have a printer, School's library has one, so you can print it there, or you can go to like a FedEx or somewhere else to print it out. Or if you own like a drawing tablet, you can digitally draw this as well. But if not, I suggest using the pencil and eraser. And yeah, so let's take a look at the first one. So this is designed to let you guys know how the points are used, can be used to enclose a shape, and also how lines can form shapes as well. So if you take a look, there's a little dots here and there, and it says cube. So the main point of this exercise is to finish the connecting the lines, and then try to create a cube with using these dots right here. And next one is pyramid, three-sided. So you're gonna have to connect the lines and see how you can create a three-sided pyramids here and cylinder here as well. And the next one is going to be creating your own value scale. So here I've created these small boxes here, so you can use the pencil and then start creating your value scale. Make sure that you are differentiating the different values. So these two has to somewhat match, and then it has to show your understanding of how things goes from light to dark. And style of this doesn't matter how you do it. If you're more of a obviously I need to go a little bit darker, but make it a little bit I'm gonna make it a little neat by introducing a little bit of a vertical lines, and I'm doing the cross hatching. And yeah, I might need a little bit more here. Yeah, so you get the idea, right? So finish this, and then once you finish these two, you can move on to this guy right here. So this exercise is to created so that you guys think about how you can represent shades and value to create a three-dimensionality into the 2D space, which is this paper right here. So this paper is 2D, meaning it's flat, but how do you represent 3D object on the 2D surface? So here I've distinguished point, line, and shade. So what that means is that I want you to think about how you can shade this this box, this cube. So as you can see right here, it means that the light source is coming from the left and top left corner. So I'm just going to show how you can approach this project. So for this, I'm going to use like a pen. This will do better. You can use pencil or whatever you want, but or thin Sharpie. Thin Sharpie is going to work really well. So I want you to think about how light is coming from top left, and obviously this side right here is going to be the darkest. So here I'm going to use point to shade my object. So you can start adding a point like this, and then create entire fill the entire shade here. Or you could also think about how the Obama poster used individual elements, and use that as a point to create an overall shape. So you could think about, instead of like little dots like here, you could think about how you can create a little circles, and then just kind of create a pattern to just kind of shade this side right here and things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I don't want you to just follow what I do. I want you to come up with your own points to shade this side right here. So I'm just gonna go fast forward. Whew, that took longer than I anticipated. And let's move on to this side. So make sure, think about how the light is coming from top left corner. So here it has to be a little bit brighter than this side. So if I take a look at the value scale, if I say this side is like around here, this side has to be somewhere around this value shade right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Space the points a little bit further. Alright, so if you do that, even if it's little dots here, or circles in this case, our mind still connects them and then see that as a whole, and then it kind of I can use this to shade this cube right here. So on top here is where the sun is hitting the most, so this has to be the brightest. This has to be the brightest side. So for the value shade, I'll use either these two right here. So compared, whereas this is more like that, and here this is more like somewhere around here. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so this kind of a dot is kind of awkward when I'm doing like a lighter shade, but yeah, I think it looks fine. And line is that I want you to use line to do the same thing, to shade this cube right here. So same directional light coming from top left corner. So if I were to do this, so this is how you express, how you shade your cube, which with that kind of a line quality is up to you. So if I were to do this, I would use like a technical cross hatching, but I want you to think about how you can come up with your own unique artistic way of implementing line to shade this cube right here. So, well, how about I just do that? How about I like a wavy line? Like I said, I want you to come up with your own type of line. I'm just gonna go ahead and use this wavy line to shade this cube. And also, oh yeah, also if you want to make this even perfect, think about how you can do the shadow as well. So shadow, it has to be the darkest because it's closest to the object, and it has to go to the light. So think about how you can include the shadow as well. Okay, that looks good. But usually, even within the one shade of the cube, always this area right here is the darkest. The reason, don't ask me. That's how I learned, how to draw a cube when I was a student. That looks good. And let's move on to the midtone right here. All right, the midtone looks great. And let's go to the brightest one right here. All right, looking good. And now we want to shade. So for this one, I want you to make one continuous shade as what we did on this value scale. So I'm going to use a pencil because pencil works better here. And I'm gonna start shading this box using this pencil, and I'm gonna really focus on the chiaroscuro, the technique of introducing light into the three-dimensional shape on 2D surface. So I'm gonna start with the lighter one this time because I don't want to start with the darkest one and then start smudging everywhere. So the lightest, I'm gonna start with the really just a bare amount of pressure on the pencil. And I'm gonna move on to the midtone right here. You can barely see the lines in here, right? Because I kind of use the flat side of the graphite to kind of smudge along with the while I was creating the stroke. Here I'm gonna work with the darkest side. Yeah, I think that is the I think that's a strong I think there is a good looking cube right here. I'm just gonna make it a little bit cleaner by erasing this side. So if you want to, you can work on the shadow as well. So shadow has to be much darker, so I'm gonna use the sharp side of the graphite to really get a distinguishing between the object and the shadow. And then I'm going to use my eraser, clean it up a little bit. Alright, that's a good looking cube right there. So, I mean, after all, this is not a drawing class, so you don't have to make it like super perfect like this. I just want you guys to understand how point, line, and shade can be used to introduce kind of a three-dimensionality to the shapes, and how you can implement these three different types of visual element to create your composition. Alright, so that is it for this one, and let's take a look at the final one. So the final one, I want you to get creative. It doesn't have to be the cube, the one that I provided. If you wanna draw something else, by all means, please do. I actually encourage it because that'll really make you think about how you need to approach all this topic. But if you just want to stick with the cube, that is fine. So implement the things that you learned from this exercise right here, where shading the cube using point, line, and shade. So you could think about how a creative way of shading this cube right here. So you could start with so on top of my head, something that I can think of is by like a letter, you know, you could start writing like you know, hello, my name is blah blah blah. So you could kind of do that, or you could create your own shape and then do the repetition just like how we did with the point, or you could create your own line and then start, you know, shading this cube. Or you could do like a really exquisite shading on this, but I still want you to be creative with this one. So you could kind of combine these three together to shade this cube right here. So this is really, this is up to you how you wanna shade this box, or something else that you wanna draw. So if you wanna draw something else, just flip it over and then draw something here, and then, you know, work on it. So that is it, and the submission for this exercise is not due until next week. So you have some time to work on this, and I would strongly suggest that you study for this week. I strongly suggest that you study for the first exam, which is going to be open on next week on Monday. So it'll be a Monday through Friday, but you'll only have a one attempt, and it's time 40 minutes and it's 30 questions. So you won't have a time to go skim through your book and try to find for the answer. You're going to have to study. You're going to have to, you know, try to answer all that study guide questions, and then study them, and then you'll be able to make a good grade. So if you have any questions on this today's exercise, just let me know. And if I can't think of anything else that, you know, that might, you know, be a problem. But yeah, so, and I'll see you guys on next week with the lecture on chapter 4 that we haven't covered yet.